So we'll try to understand what are connected and disconnected graphs. So in case of a connected graph, if from any node M I can reach to any node N in the graph is called as a connected graph. So that means that there should be at least one path to move from one node to another in the graphs. But a disconnected graph is one where eventually there exists such a pair, just one pair is required, which is not reachable from each other, would be called as a disconnected graph. So a connected graph should have path from one node, from all the nodes to all the other nodes. In case of a disconnected graph, and if any node pair is missing out on any connection, that means they are not reachable to each other. It becomes a disconnected graph. Now we'll talking about what is a directed versus undirected graphs. So where the direction of the relationship is specified are called as directed graphs. So, for example, it can be the case that there is a train that exists between point A to point B, but vice versa is not true. That means point B to point A, the train doesn't exist. So, from Hyderabad to Bangalore, we might have a train but from Bangalore to Hyderabad, we don't have a train. Such a graph would be called as a directed graph because we need to mention arrowheads in that. Eventually, the relationship is one-sided. In case of undirected graphs, it exists between both A and B. So, like for example, in the example, you can see that there is a relationship like marriage between two nodes. Weighted versus unweighted graphs, where a relationship carries some numerical weights, are called as weighted graphs. For example, as I have talked about Google Maps in my previous video. So, if we have landmark A and B, and then we have a road, so weighted graph can have the distance or the length of the road. That would be called as a weighted graph when we are considering the weights as well. Unweighted graphs basically don't have any value between them. Like for example, a relationship like marriage between a male and a female, it won't be having any weight. Cyclic versus acyclic. So a cyclic graph is the one where there exists one path such that the graph visits a particular node twice. We are having a circle within the graph, like it's like a closed circle that is getting formed within the graph would be called as a cyclic graph. Else it is a acyclic graph. Doesn't exist any cycles within the graph. So cycles basically means that you are having a round robin sort of a relationship. So like A is connected to B, B is connected to C, C is connected to A. So in this particular case, you can see that if you follow in this, it's an infinite loop sort of situation where there just doesn't, there is no terminal end for the relationship, for the graph to end. There are no leaves, so everything is connected with each other. So in this case, you have a cyclic graph. You have a cycle within the graph.